Yo, 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 yo. You already know what it is. It's your boy. We back over here at Cage in the Basement. Now look, battle rappers rehearsing their rounds. Now look, I usually stay away from all these type of topics. I don't get into this type of stuff. I typically just review the battles and keep it moving. But with this specific topic, I felt it's very important for me to provide a little bit of perspective. Now look, I'm not here to really give an opinion. I'm not here to provide the story or whatever. I just want to provide a little bit of perspective on the topic at hand. Battle rappers rehearsing their rounds with each other. Now, this can mean one of two things, or this actually means one of two things. What we know as battle rap is when two battlers meet, they rap their rounds in front of each other, and for the most part, those rounds are heard for the first time on stage by the audience as well as the opponent. Now, that's very important. Now, we've heard from time to time, battle rappers, they rehearse their rounds with their friends, their close friends. They might call another battle rapper, yo, you want to hear my rounds? It's kind of like, I would say that's like proofreading. It allows them to edit their rounds better, and it just gives them a good sense if they're on the right track. Now, that has always been acceptable. It's always been widely unacceptable to have your opponent hear your rounds. Let me just bring up something real quick from the earlier days of battle rap. It was widely known in battle rap when DNA battled. He had a very important battle, and his opponent heard his rounds prior. Now, the only way that happened, it was rumored that Mickey Fax actually leaked the rounds. Now, this is the reason why DNA and Mickey Fax had such a rivalry, and this would make their battle on URL so important. Now, I'm not going to get into too many details. That just shows you how important and how detrimental it was to have your opponent hear your rounds prior to the battle. Now, there's all sorts of things that can come from that if they heard your rounds and you don't know. They can build up all type of rebuttals, defensive writing, a whole host of things. And that can work terribly for the opponent, for the person battling that person, because it puts them at a disadvantage. Now, I just want to fast forward real quick, and I want to move to the era we're in now in battle rap. Now, I spoke about how it's widely known that battle rappers, they'll spit their rounds with their close friends and other close battle rappers that they know personally, but never to the opponent. The opponent never hears the rounds. It's very rare somebody's going to call their opponent like, yo, you want to hear this first I got for you? That probably happened, but it wasn't widely known. I say the first instance of this being something that we got wind of, and it was like real important. It was kind of weird for me too. When I heard that Caffeine came onto the scene, and what Caffeine originally did. Now, what people have to understand about Caffeine came on the scene as a major production company. They don't initially understand battle rap and how battle rap supposed to go, but they got smack in the driver's seat. But from my understanding, when Caffeine first went to do the production, they never really seen battle rap up close and personal. I'm not sure how many battles they did this for, but Caffeine kind of had the people rehearse prior to the filming sessions. Now, this was important because Caffeine had to kind of get a groove, and kind of, when you're doing major productions, there's a lot of rehearsals before you even put the show on. Now, battle rap isn't used to that. If you know anything about concerts or even people doing shows, you show up the day before to do sound checks, to rehearse your set, and you get all of that stuff figured out prior to putting on the show. And this is the format Caffeine was using. Now, the battle rappers was initially startled. A lot of battle rappers was like, yo, what the hell? We're not doing that. I'm not going to let this dude hear my rounds for before the battle, and especially this was a tournament situation, so it was definitely detrimental to let your opponent hear your rounds in that type of format. So what happened was I heard a lot of the battle rappers just spit general bars or probably a verse from one of their songs to their opponent with the battle rap movements just to give Caffeine what they needed to understand how to film battle rap. So this is not really me blaming Caffeine. This is me providing perspective to how something like this even started in this era. Now, besides people calling each other on the side and spitting their rounds to their mans and or whatever, or people on their team, this is really the first time I think battle rappers started rehearsing on camera prior to the battle. So they're face to face, they're doing all the movements, the gestures, and they did this during the early era of Caffeine to let the Caffeine film crew get an idea of what angles to film the battle from. And all of this is very important. I think if Caffeine didn't take these necessary steps, we would have had terrible looking footage for the first few battles of Caffeine. The fact that even with Avocado there, I think just the fact that Caffeine got it right and they've been getting it right ever since then is because they were able to rehearse. Now, battle rappers spitting the actual verses that they're going to use for the show in front of the battle rappers is something completely different. Now, like I said, Caffeine had them rehearsing just to get the movements right, to get the audio right, to get the film right, to get the look right. That's what a major production is going to do. When you're spending millions of dollars, when you got millions of dollars worth of equipment, you're going to get the production right. And that they're right. They have the right to do that, rightfully so. We're actually glad they did that. That's why we got battle rap looking so amazing since the Caffeine era. Now, when battle rappers decide to spit their rounds prior to the battle for other reasons, like to remove the jitters, I think that's where most of the community has the discrepancy. Now, I just spoke about how they performed in front of each other and spit general bars or probably a verse from a 16 or a rap, a regular song to the opponent. But spitting the actual material for the opponent in front of the opponent prior to the battle, I'm explaining why that causes a huge problem. Now, this is not my opinion. I just want to give perspective of what this ultimately does. This actually seriously robs the fans, and it actually takes away a lot from the battle. You guys as battlers are probably liking the fact that it gives y'all a chance to remember y'all material and it gets a lot of the nervousness out the way. But you have to understand, battle rap is an offensive and a defensive sport. You hearing that material for the first time as a battler is very important. Your defense and your reaction to what somebody's saying to you is just as important as what they're saying. So if you heard it already, that takes away 90% of your reaction. And if you fake a reaction, that's even worse. Now, you see the dilemma we have here? It's not about whether or not anybody agrees with it. What we all can need to understand, it's robbing the culture of a complete battle. We're getting a battle that's all offense and fake, fabricated defensive reactions. Defense will lose you an entire battle. I can bring up several instances where someone's reaction was probably one of the biggest moments of that battle. During a Loaded Lux Kyle battle, there's so many battles, Jack Boy jumping off stage. You think if Jack Boy knew that chain was coming out, he makes that same reaction? You think if Tay Rock you think Tay Rock has that reaction to that? If you understand what I'm trying to say, we don't get none of that Jack Boy. Not to get at Jack Boy, but that's just a great example of we don't get none of what that battle ultimately turned into if Jack Boy knew everything John was going to say. If John rehearsed that battle with Jack Boy, that battle is not a classic. Jack Boy doesn't jump off stage. He doesn't get out of hand. He doesn't lose his cool. We don't get a classic. You see what happens here? This is why I say perspective is more important than anybody's opinion and any of the facts. I would just say this: who's ever doing something like that, just please understand what you're doing and how much you're taking away from the battle, even against your opponent. His or her reaction to what you're saying can add or take away points from what you're doing, and that's part of the battle. That's also a very, very, and I don't want people to lose that, because losing that, you're actually losing the essence of battle rap. No matter how you try to argue it or slice it, losing that core aspect, taking away the shock value from the opponent, takes away more than half the battle. Now, if we can all get to understanding that with that perspective in mind, then I don't think anything else needs to be said. But it needs to stop immediately. Now, look, I'm not here to throw nobody under the bus and tell who can rap and who can and who needs to do this and punishments. Look, that's not what I'm here for. I'm only here to provide perspective. And with that perspective, it needs to stop, because that's not battle rap. You understand? Understand this new era created spaces, caffeine, all of these things, crews, people, and we're not even going to get to people writing together. Writing, like, because I like, if you rap, anybody that raps knows that you're probably going to write your best material around other rappers. This is why rappers get into the studio together. They're not giving each other bars and helping each other with every line. No. It's the energy. It's the process. That helps a lot. Writing a rap in a room by yourself is nothing compared to writing a rap in a room full of rappers. Now, people who don't rap will never understand that, and I don't need y'all to. I just need y'all to get that perspective. I'm not here to talk about people writing together and sharing bars or ideas or perspectives or angles. That's how anything works. When it comes to brainstorming ideas, you need think groups. Corporations spend millions of dollars on this type of stuff. People need to get up to speed with that. So I'm not going to have an opinion or perspective on that, really. I just wanted to mention that people writing together is completely separate from people rehearsing together. And I think people are mixing the two problems together. People are mixing writing together in a group, or even writing with your opponent, as the same as rehearsing with the opponent. Writing material with the opponent is a whole nother bag of tricks. Let's say, like a lot of people speculate, when people on crews battle each other, they just write their bars together. That's a whole nother bag. Separate from writing your bars with your own thoughts away from your opponent and then rehearsing it in front of your opponent. That's different. I think these are three separate issues. I think they need to be handled separately. You have rehearsing your bars in front of your opponent before the battle, taking away all the shock value and all the defensive aspects of the battle. You have people completely writing the battle together like it's a 2-on-2, but just splitting their rounds separate. That's a separate issue. Then you have people on crews writing together, sharing ideas, thoughts, and energy, creating the best material possible. That's a separate thing. So with all that perspective out the way, I just wanted to give my pointers on that. But yeah, I'm going to keep it short here. It's your boy Cage in the basement, and we out.